I want to welcome everyone here. I'm honored that you came on by, and I just want to make a couple little bit of announcements before we go on. First of all, my name is Mark Ehrlichs, and I am a healer by the grace of God. It's just something that happened with me many, many years ago. And I've worked with approximately 25 to 35,000 people over the many years. And no exact numbers, I just have no idea. And I still see people in appointments. Nowadays, it's through FaceTime or over the telephone or with Zoom. And I do work with chronic situations, pains and aches and stuff like that. I work with diseases, and I do work with some emotional stuff as well, situations. And let me see, neurologically, biologically, skeletal, injuries, you name it. Most people tell me that something in their life has changed, and that's all that's really matterful to me. Uh, if there is a word named matterful, I don't know. Any case, um, let me see here. I'll be able to sometimes perceive of the influences. Hey, Lynn, thanks for being here. Uh, uh, oh, wait a second here. She didn't get the notification that you went live tonight. Weird. Yes, it is weird. And I'm only showing some people um, uh, on the phone that are showing up, even though there's more. Any case, it's just one of those odd nights. Maybe Mercury's in retrograde again, as everyone expresses when things go not correctly, electronically especially. And so, in any case, sometimes I'm able to perceive of things of people and or situations or causals or their parents or someone they encountered at some time in their life. And it's nothing of my own doing. I just allow it to happen. I call it spontaneity of the spirit, and I enjoy it as it happens in my life. And it's happened thousands upon thousands and thousands of times, and it's just the way things are. Which also goes into one of the questions, which I'll read in a little bit from my friend Sue, because tonight is the question night. Hey, Patty, thanks for being here, my dear friend. Um, Sue was asking, hey, Patty, hey, good to see ya. Yay. Um, Sue was asking in one of her questions about how I see certain things. As a matter of fact, I'll just wait for that for a few minutes. I do want to let people know that besides the appointments that I have either telephone or Zoom or FaceTime, that there are also live uh, courses, workshops online that people can purchase, and those are listed on the website. And Lynn will be putting up in the comments section, I think. Uh, hey, Jane, good to see you, my dear friend. Lynn will be putting them up on the website, and excuse me, on the comment section, and it'll have all the information. So there she goes. She just put it up. And there's a delay. There's about 7 or 10 second delay from my phone to when you are seeing it. And so just to let y'all know. And so in any case, yeah, there she goes. Thanks. Thanks so much. And there's also besides the paid workshops, there's a lot of mini workshops every other week that I'm giving that are just totally free to the public. Very informative. Lots and lots of information on various topics that people want to know about and have me talk about, and I gladly do that. There's also this gathering. There's no charge or anything. It's to answer questions, and also in the middle of it, at different times, I should say, I work with people, and they can actually feel the energies, or they can actually experience me touching them. Thanks, Lynn. I appreciate this. And we also have every other week the Healing Circle, which is just nothing but healing and answering some questions. And yes, that's correct. The list of events are on the newsletter on the website at markehrlichs.com if anyone's interested in checking that out. But please do, if you do check it out, please do join the email list. Really important. And I don't sell the names or anything like that. Yes, and for anyone that wants to help support what we're doing, please feel free to give I don't call them donations, I call it support. And it's to help other people to attend classes who can't afford it, and also for appointments when they're really in need. It really helps people. So please do feel free to give it, or just to support us with no other, understandings, and that's fine. I don't mind. I love it, matter of fact, because it helps us to keep going as well. And let's see. The workshops are usually 5 days or 4 days, depending. And if it's 5 days, it's an hour a day. If it's 4 days, it's an hour and a half a day. So you're getting a little extra time for the 4-day workshops, Monday through Thursday. And if you don't, even with the courses, if you don't have an opportunity to watch it all, or you have to go somewhere or do something, there is a private channel on YouTube that you'll be sent a link to, which you'll be able to see it as many times as you want thereafter. And they're awesome, I think, totally. Let's see, what else am I missing here? I already talked about all that stuff. And in the appointments, going back to the appointments for a moment, if you do choose to have an appointment with me, they're, in my perspective, they're really powerful. And most people tell me that they're great. It's for everything, even the physiological. And you might experience as well, most often, people will say that they feel me working with them while we're on the phone or FaceTime or in Zoom. And most people do. And they'll feel changes happening. Hey, Susie, good to see you. Thanks for being here. So, and this is even going to be for replay as soon as I post it right after we get off. And you'll be able to get, whatever information out of, and you can replay it as many times as you want. It'll be posted on this site. And so please do join my, if you're not already, join my Facebook page, the community page, Spiritual Healing with Mark Ehrlichs. So, and I hope your husband as well, Susie. I pray everything is great there. And so, in August, we won't have any classes, but we will be having, for anyone who's taken any of my courses, we will have availability. I mean, this is for any time in life that anyone has taken my courses. We will have the Series 3 of spiritual healing. And it's progressive in its nature. First there was the introduction, then Series 2, and now Series 3. So please, if you have the opportunity, go to the website and sign up now. And it is available for anyone who's taken any of my courses whatsoever. It's awesome. It gets deep, it gets involved, and it gets experiential as well. Do take advantage of that. And let me see what else. Am I missing anything? All my video links are available on YouTube as well. The free ones and the other courses for people who've taken the courses, the paid courses. Everything that I express as far as the information is from my experience, which is foremost, and even the stories, everything is just, it's purely from my experience. All the experiences I've had, as I relate them, it's for a purpose, and you'll get something out of it. It pertains to you in some way or another. If you ask a question, I'll answer through my experience. Sometimes I use, when I do my writings and stuff like that, even on Facebook, I'll express things that I've heard from my teachers that I can share with you gladly. And I hold very little back, and it depends upon how much we want to hear. There's so much more information in what I am saying and what I am expressing. Do take advantage of it, and try to realize within yourself how it might apply to you in your life. And let's see what else. If there's any questions from anyone here and they would like to ask them, please post it. And what I'll do is, I'll try to answer it as there's time and when I'm not doing anything specific. And I might call on you and ask you if there's anything you would like me to work with when the time comes. Don't post it until then, because I can't see the posts until then. Let me see here. My dear friend Sue, she's going to be catching the replay of this, but she posed a couple questions for me. And one was, let me see if I can read it. Sue wrote, question for any week. How to manifest pictures of another's life. And I'm referring to the bells ringing, the asthma story, or perceiving where pain originated in distant healing. Several times I told the story to Sue and a lot of other people as well. A couple stories. One is about the bells. Many years, what she's asking is, how do I perceive things, basically, when I'm working with a person? And the bells are, one time in Nashville, there was this large healing circle, and everyone's standing, and this woman came up into the center of the circle, which was procedure, and which I had never seen before, this woman, and she said, can you work with me? I don't know what to work with specifically. I said, yeah, sure. So I put my hands on her head, and I kept asking inside, what can I work with her with? Because there was nothing physiologically that she was aware of that was bugging her. And I didn't want to start looking for stuff, because this was a quickie. Everyone came into the center for a quickie healing, as I call them. And so I had my hands on her head, and then all of a sudden I heard bells, and these beautiful bells with a deep, deep sound. And so, and I was wondering, what is this? What is this? And then after I kept asking for a moment, I was just so curious what this was. What were the deep bells for? And then I heard a voice inside of me say, St. Mary's, bells of St. Mary's. And it was just beautiful. And so I said, okay, what does this bells of St. Mary's mean to you? What is this about? And she says, oh my God, I just came from England, and I was at a church, and it was the bells that were just so beautiful. They affected me in my life. And so that's where that came from. And so I just asked a blessing on her, and went to the next person. And then there was another story that Sue was referring to, the asthma story. There was a time that in Chicago, it was a really large group of people, maybe about 150, 200, I can't remember. But in any case, one woman came up I had never seen before, and she had severe asthma, and here she is, in her 40s or upper 30s, I don't remember. And so as my hands were on her head, I didn't perceive anything necessarily. So I kept scanning down her, which I teach in the courses. I kept scanning down and on her left side, and I got to, I think it was the age of 7 or 9 or something like that. It was a long time ago. And I felt all this energy there. Uh, uh, I think it was whatever age, 7 or 9. And so I'm wondering, what is this? What is this? As I keep going deeper and deeper inside myself, then I uh, I had a vision of her on the ground, curled up in a fetal position, and her uncle was on top of her, tickling her, and he wouldn't stop, and it was bothering her. It hurt her, and she couldn't handle it. It was very uncomfortable for her. And as he continued, who was this big dude in his upper teens, I think, and he was having a great time tickling her, and she was in a lot of discomfort. And so, and she was in so much discomfort, and it hurt her so bad that she went like and held her breath. And it was then that she developed, for her, the asthmatic condition. And I said, I got it. And so what she did, she said, what? What did you get? And everyone's there, and wide-eyed and jawed, and and I'm having a good time doing this. I got it. I got it. And she's saying, what? What? And she said, so I told her what it was, and I saw her uncle at the time on top of her, tickling her. And she was in pain, and I described the clothing, I described the atmosphere around, being out, no, excuse me, being inside. I can't remember, I think it was a basement or something like that. And he was just insistent on doing this. And she held her breath, sucked her breath in. And she said, I remember that, I hated that. And it was from that moment on, she no longer had the asthmatic condition in her life from when I had expressed that. Because her consciousness was able to go there and remember that as I was describing it, she was being objective. She was being objectively observant for that, and it broke the consciousness of that. And from then on, the asthma was gone. And she would come around every once in a while, and she no longer had the asthma. So I think they're great questions. So firstly, I'm so used to this that it's not even a thought as far as how I do it. I don't even know anymore. And even back then, it was just shown to me of how to do it. And so now, as I'm thinking about it, I'll try to go there. It's just accepting that I'll trust the thoughts and images that come to me. Because I went into this with no spirituality. I hated God at one time in my life. I never knew that any of this stuff existed until I went into my order. And then it was just like being open because I was fresh. I didn't have any idea. I didn't have any predetermination. The only kind of healing I ever thought prior to that was through hypnosis. And I was able at a younger age, even from the age of 9, I was able to take people into somnambulistic states of hypnosis until I got into my order, and my teacher, and I told my teacher about it, and he says, "Oh, you don't want to do that because it takes free will away." So whether that be true or not, I don't know. But I never went to that again because I wanted to follow what was happening with me and what I was perceiving. I wanted to observe it, to be objective about it, to be, in it, to see if what I was learning was real. And so, but I learned what I did through being objective, being observant, without the judgment, prejudgment, or predetermination, or thinking about it or anything else. I just let things happen naturally. And so it's just what I did was I just accepted and trusting the thoughts and images that came to me and that do come to me now. And so in reality, it's something that just happens because I trust that healing is always on. Always on. It's never not. Even when a person just approaches me out of the blue, things happen. and with another person's health, if that should be the case. And or even when I sometimes just walked into a room with several people, and someone says that I just worked with them, and I never know how, any of the hows or whys or whens or what's going on. But the point is that intuition and healing go hand in hand. And as I always teach, you can't have any gift or attribute come forth without the ability of intuition being a part of it. They're intermeshed, always. So many people here have these great gifts or ability, but we're the gift, and we're open to it, and our lives have led us into these things naturally. But the neat thing, another but, is that it's a part of us naturally, the intuitive abilities. And it's just, hey, Wendy, thanks for being here, my dear friend. But the intuitive abilities are just intermeshed in us, and we're open to them. They come to us. And there's no avoiding them, even if you're in the arts or the musics or anything, or you come from an emotional place. There's another side to it which wants to share with us. We're the ones who take the emotion and turn it into a destructive thing. And so that's just the way things are. In any case, yes, sometimes the other person, and she was asking about, what was that question? Does the other person's body send messages when I perceive things? And well, first of all, let me express, I don't always perceive things. I don't look for things. I just wait for things. If something should be there, it'll be shown to me through what I refer to as spontaneity of the spirit. And, it could be a gift, doing it wholeheartedly like that, but I don't get into anything. I just let it happen in spontaneity. And that's my preference. The only thing that I work with purposefully is working with the healing, and I refer to it as spiritual healing, different than psychic healing, different than emotional healing, different than empathetic healing, different than whatever other terms there are. I don't recall them offhand. So I refer to it as spiritual healing, where it's all spontaneity and let it happen naturally. And that's just the way it is with me. And yes, sometimes the other person's body, in its consciousness, might show what the dilemma or the drama or the trauma or cause might be, because it's still within them. And they're living it, they're reliving it without even knowing it. And it's just a part of most everyone's life. And at other times, or many times, I don't know which, it's shared with the healer as we begin to work with them. You might pick up on someone as they're walking with you, might perceive a nuance or moving their finger a little bit that might, and all of a sudden you find yourself within yourself wondering about that. You're being open about it, and just a little movement of the finger might tell you a whole story about the person. And so as we're beginning to work with them, or as they're in front of us sharing something with us, I can't ever predetermine which is going to be. I never know. So even as I work with someone in what I refer to as my prayers, not a religious thing, we all say prayers all the time. And every word, every thought, every action is our living prayer. Always. So we're always praying, and it's what we want to do consciously, purposefully. We have the ability to determine in our lives. So even as I work with someone in my prayers, no matter where they are in the world, as I can even mentally scan a person. Hey, Mariko, good to see you here. Thank you so much. And Nikki, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Please see the replay if you missed any of this. So no matter where in the world they are, uh, as I mentally scan them when I'm, say, in appointment with them, either in Zoom or FaceTime or telephone, uh, something in their body might be shown to me at some time. Uh, Usually, in the initial, I'll get impressions, or even say as I do prayer work, sometimes it might show to me causes while my hands are on their heads, while asking the divinity or the godliness within a blessing on them. Something might be shown to me, even if it's on one of the FaceTime or Zoom or telephone calls. That can happen. I imagine I bring my image in action to them, and most people can sense something happening. Uh, and quite often, people are they'll feel something or they'll experience something happening within them, and then all of a sudden, uh, they um, they come back to reality and they start questioning themselves. But it's still happening, always happening still. And the perceptions that you get, or me, for instance, that I get, I know are true. And a person may or may not remember it if you should bring that up. And or sometimes people don't need to remember it, and it might unleash a lot of dilemma or drama or trauma in their life. But you're still working with it, and what you're perceiving is true, as long as you're being open in the being objective and observant without any predeterminations, without thinking. You're letting it come to you. You're not thinking it. You're not projecting it. That's the difference between a lot of healers. There's a healer on every street corner, but some I know use the intuition as a tool with healing, and that's when it's going to be most effective. If anything comes to you, and otherwise just do your work. There's been many a time that I was working on someone, many a time, and I'll say, okay, what is this, God, or what is this, divinity, or universal mind, or creator, whatever you want to call it, or nameless one, whatever, and and I'll get a voice that sometimes says, none of your business, just keep working. And I say, fine with me, boss. So uh, when I initiate all healing with asking a blessing on the person, whether it be obvious or not obvious to the person. And I ask a blessing on the person, and in that blessing, I'm saying, okay, help me to help this person to open, and then I'll see like a perfection of what they're going through, and then I start working with the person. And sometimes in that asking of that blessing by that divinity or the godliness, I'll be shown something or told something. And sometimes I don't say anything to the person because it's going to lead into future conversation with that person in that appointment. And also on the telephone or FaceTime or Zoom in the appointments, as we begin to chat, even if I've never chatted with them before, it being the causal moment or situation, what it really might be shown to me, not what they are necessarily expressing, because they don't know the causal moment. So I'll see situations, and that's why the phone appointments might be complete in maybe, who knows, 10 minutes up to a full hour. But then during that time, it takes longer for the person to understand what my expressions are, or for them to relate, and then they start remembering some things, and the understandings of the causes, or how they can relate, and what's being related by what I refer to as spirit, or what you might call a spirit. And so that's just the way it is. So, any case, please, if there's any questions of anyone that I can try to answer, please feel free. Um, Mariko, is there any one thing, and now Mariko's in Japan. Mariko, is there any one thing in your body that you would like me to work with? Not multiple things for anyone, really, that I asked this for. Any one thing that you would like me to work with, please um, answer. And it'll take a few seconds, so I'm going to go right now to Diane's question. Can you say more about the voice that you get? I get a voice regularly, which I know you do. I believe that. That is very firm and direct and doesn't feel like, I can't read what she's written here. Let me try to see it on my computer, because I'm on my phone right now. Let me see if I can scroll down. Here it is. It's always, darn it, come on. She wrote, can you say more about the voice that you get? I get a voice regularly that is very firm and direct, that doesn't feel like it is me. It's always helpful guidance, often when I'm hesitating or something. The guidance within is very impersonal. That divinity within, you're getting it from true self. And the guidance within is very, very impersonal. It has no emotion to it. So sometimes when people start perceiving that, or if they've been perceiving it for years or whatever, it's a strong voice. And it will seem sometimes harsh, but it's not personal in any way. No way. And so, and it won't feel like you, but it's the true you that's coming forth, wanting to express forth from you for the guidance and direction that you're asking for. The voice that I get is the same way. The first, I think, let me see if I can remember it. One of the first times that I ever got. Oh, I was I was a novice, and there were a bunch of people that were milling around outside, other novices, and there was a woman novice in the order that was talking with a bunch of other people, and and I didn't know anyone then. I just gotten in the order or whatever, and assigned I was a novice, and so everyone was standing there and they were talking. I went up to them and I just stood with them, and no one gave me any credence or anything, and I was listening to the conversation, see if I can add something to it, which I didn't understand anything they were talking about. But there was one particular woman that she said something, and the others really perked up and started listening to, and I was curious about the statement. I don't remember what it was now. It was 47 years ago. And she, and then she walked away, and everyone else started dispersing. So I left, and I went up to the quarters where I was living, and I thought about, I wonder what her name was. And no one said it, and I was just so curious what her name was. And then all of a sudden, as I was doing something in the novice quarters, a voice came to me and said, Caroline. Her name is Caroline. And I looked around. It sounded like a voice from all directions, but it was inside of me, and it was loud and it was clear. And I kept looking, and no one was there, and they couldn't hear my thinking anyways. And so later that day, one of the brothers were there, or other novices, excuse me, was where I was in a particular area. And I said, hey, what was that woman's name, the other novice? And they couldn't figure out how to talk about it. And then I started describing her and something she had said. and they said, "Oh, you must be talking about Carolyn." And I perceived it, the voice I said was Caroline, but it was Carolyn. That was the first time that I ever perceived it, but it was a very impersonal voice. It has no emotion that we do, and it comes to us in our dreams. It comes to us in our waking moments. It comes to us when we're in the shower or doing dishes. When we're focusing on something, all of a sudden we'll have this aha moment. Sometimes it's a voice, and sometimes the voice is pictures, or pictures and voice, audible, but it comes from within. And many of us have heard that, but we just quite often brush it off. And we contributed to, oh, I had a spiritual experience, and that's nice. But many, 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 many people, most people, do not understand it has expressed to you because it's within you, and waiting. It's always a truth, and it won't, you know, show you otherwise. If it shows you otherwise, that's when you challenge it and say, yeah, sure. But it's a truth, and it will go deeper in its understanding, and it will share with you of things that we want to know. That's the intuition. The voice moves through that intuition itself, the true self within, with the big S, not the small s. And so small s is an aspect of the world that we live in, and the glorification of mankind. The big S is of the divinity within, and that wants to share with us continually of things that are part of our life, or our atmosphere in our life. So, a great question. Great questions, Diane. Thank you so much for asking that. And so it's available to us, and we always have access to these things. So, in any case, let me get over here, see if I can find another question. Oh, Sue also wrote. Let me see if I can get to it here. Or finish up. Hey, Stephen, good to see you, my dear friend. Yes. And so also, these are the things that, you're welcome, Diane. My pleasure. My total pleasure. So these things are, might happen in the appointments. I don't guarantee anything. How can you guarantee, oh, God's going to be right there? Hey, Jill, thanks for being here, my dear friend. And you rock too, Steve. Thanks. All of y'all do. And so in the appointments, as we begin to chat, even if I've never chatted with you before, the causal situation might come up that I might be able to perceive of it. And that's why those appointments might be complete. They could be complete within a few minutes' time, all the way up to an hour. But it usually takes up to an hour because there's an understanding that might be behind what I express. Another aspect of that is when we see something inside, or when I only can talk first person, when I see something inside, it might be a causal moment that then I have to find a way in English to reflect it, or to translate it, that it's understandable for everyone. And that's important for the healer to do. And to help a person understand in their life what the situation might have created from thereafter. And that's what we're looking for inside, and we're relying upon that information to express. And everyone has the ability to do this. And if you're squeamish about it, or you're hesitant or whatever, step out on it, try it. all the courses that I offer are about that. Even the free mini courses, and even this gathering are if you have questions about it, I'll try to express what's happening and how you can relate to it in some way or another, usually through stories. And those stories are experiences that I've had in some way or another. And so, but during that time, it takes longer for the person to understand their causes, and so, or how they can relate to it, and what's being related by whatever. And yeah, thanks, Andrea. I appreciate your speaking about honoring the divine within. It's everything. It's our life. That's why we're here, to express that. And I always talk about so-called reincarnation. You know, the only purpose, the only rhyme or reason for so-called reincarnation is to help us to get to know ourselves. And there's understanding behind that. What does it mean to get to know ourselves? To who we really are in that mind that we're a part of, and that's a part of us. It's intermeshed in us, but here we're, in a sense, asleep to it, or else we'd be able to perceive so much more deeply within ourselves. And things would be a lot simpler in our lives, and we'd be a part of that divinity, even in manifestations of things. You know, what comes to mind also, for millions of years, mankind was only able to, once mankind was able to take on consciousness, then we experienced other beings gut to gut. Now, and that lasted for millions of years in development. And as that began to evolve in humankind, mankind, man, woman, as that began to evolve, then it went, after millions of years, from gut to heart. And that's where feelings started to come in, and feelings began to be expressed. And people formed feeling for each other, and it kept evolving from there. And a lot of people now are developing into, over, and who knows how many thousands of years it'll take, or less, or hundreds of years, because everything is evolving so quickly. Now it's going from gut to heart. A lot of people are experiencing, and now there's some people that can actually experience heart to heart, and that's many people, heart to heart, but there's more to that heart to heart, and that's a part of evolution that we're experiencing. But the neat thing is, there's even some people that can experience heart to mind, which is the next step of our evolutionary process. Heart to mind. And that's what it's almost like baby steps. We're developing that. And some people can express that and work with it, and actually have the experience of that. Maybe not all the time. Most people, not all the time. But some people are developing into that. Then that's few people. And then the next step in our evolution is from mind to mind. And there's very few people that can do that. When I first went into my order, again, I was in novice quarters, and there was a priest that came up to novice, and priests and novices didn't intermingle. And so this guy came up. I was the only one in the quarters at the time, and I was sitting on a chair at a table, and this fellow came in, and he introduced himself to me. I said, "What are you doing?" You know, in my head, I'm thinking, "What are you doing here?" And then I introduced myself to him, shook his hand, and he's smiling the whole time. And I kept thinking, okay, what does this guy want? And then he said out of his mouth, "You want to know what I want?" And it didn't comprehend in me what was happening. And then he started chatting with me, real light stuff, and and he asked me a question. I answered him. I said, "Why is he?" I'm thinking to myself, "Why is this guy asking me this question?" And about what I'm learning or something like that as a novice, because he was through a novice a long time ago, years ago, and he says, "Well, I'll tell you why I'm thinking that." And so he kept on going and going and going, answering my questions that I was thinking, and it hit me. It was like a shock. I never perceived of anything like this being real in life. And he's just laughing away then. And he says, and I'm thinking to myself, how does he do it? How does he do it? And what's giving him the clues or whatever? And he said, "Let me stop you for a second. I'll tell you." And he just heard me again. And so he says, for me, it's like, and back then it was the old transistor radios. And he says, "You know what a transistor radio is?" I said, "Yeah, sure." And he says, "Well, it's like tuning it into five different stations at one time, and then deciphering, and bringing it down and down and down." And he was in his life, he had that all of his life. He was born with that, but he was learning to fine tune it in his life, where he can just hone into one person. And so, but it's that self inside, and also, besides the self inside giving us guidance and direction, it's also being open to it. And then, as we're open to it, the mind has room for it, which gets deciphered a little bit. It gets trickled into the brain that we can identify with. So, and this then that we're able to express it. But the more open, the more we can decipher within us of what's there to be made obvious about a person or a situation or about life. And so it is available to us. And I hope that makes sense to anyone or everyone here. And so, let me see here. Sue also wrote, I have had a couple messages of complete knowing. I know that's true with Sue. Today, while looking in your book, I saw in the margin that we must choose to listen to that voice of self. Make a conscious choice of it. Any tips for practicing this? And I was just, and she got something out of it, and she says she just got the answer when she was writing the question, to trust. And that's what it's learning to do, is to trust. And we all have that ability to do it. Unfortunately, the world is in our way, because when we try to even sit down to become quiet, there's going to be chatter, there's going to be thinking, there's going to be interruptions, there's going to be other things to do that we think of, and or other priorities that take precedence over sitting down and becoming really still as we become. What I do, and what I've always done since day one, I didn't know any other way to do it, so I tried this. And my teacher guided me in it when I was a novice, and he said, "Okay, Mark, Brother Mark, I want you to just close your eyes," and I did, and take a deep breath and watch the breath come in through your nostrils and go all the way down into the lowest part of your belly, and real slow motion, and bring it slowly and gently forth from your mouth in slow motion, that breath. And he said, continue doing it in slow motion. And I did it several times, and it kept going deeper and deeper and deeper. Then I was conscious that I was in a state, and whatever it was different, but I was conscious. And then he said, okay, ask a question. And ask yourself a simple question. And he gave me a question. I don't remember what it was. It was 47 years ago. Give me a break. And so I asked the question he told me to ask, and I watched an answer develop. It was real simple, real super simple. And so he says, okay, good, you know how to do it now. And that's, we have contemplation, which is the first step. When we're contemplating, when we're in the shower or doing dishes, we're working with something, and all of a sudden an answer of something else comes to us. And in that answer, it's a truth of something we didn't know about, we didn't have the answer to before. Or we didn't, if we were curious about understanding something a little bit deeper, an elaboration of it will come to us. We have that within us to come forth. It will share with us gladly. That's from self. That's from that divinity, that all-knowing, all-conscious being that's within us, that we're enmeshed in, that we're a part of, and that's part of us even in the world. So it's learning to become calm in that way. I use the breath. It's so simple. I don't use other people's mantras because that's their mantra. I don't, even if a great teacher tells me a mantra, that's for people who need an initial guidance of how to. And there's nothing incorrect about that. But to use the same thing over and over again, I think it's overkill. So I think the next step, my personal perception, this is only me, not to judge or anything like that, my personal perception is that we have this within us that wants to, in that next step of doing it ourselves, for our life, for our environment, for anything that's available to us. We can say, is this good or bad, right or wrong? Share with me, show me. But we have to ask it. Once it gives us an answer, I'll say, tell me more, or show me more. Then, if as I'm asking the question, I stay in that state of clarity, and then that's an opening for it to give me volumes of information that are in a little moment of understanding. And the more open we are, more of those volumes of information will be shared with us. It's all available to us. And all we have to do is trust, as Sue suggested, is trusting it. Then it's available to us. So, yes, it's difficult to meditate, Diane. Yes, I understand. But all that is chaos, but it's not permanent, and it doesn't have to involve us to destroy us. So what I do is I stop myself and I say, okay, sorry about that. My phone was ringing. I have this time, this situation to be calm for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes. And I say, okay, worlds, wait out there. I'll be right back. I know you'll still be there when I'm coming back. And so wait there. I'll be right back. And it will be silent. The world will be silent within you, in your mind and in your feelings and everything else for those few moments. And then you have the opportunity to go within yourself and for those few moments. But if you set that pattern for, say, around a specific time, in the morning or afternoon or night or whenever, then it will start developing within you and you find yourself changed. That's all that matters. What I'd like to do real briefly is Is there anyone that has, please share with me, anyone that has something, one thing in their body that you would like me to work with? Please, anyone. And anyone, please. Real briefly, uh, we got 4 minutes left, but I'll take it for about 2 more extra minutes or 3 minutes. Please, anyone with one thing in their body that you would like me to work with, an ache or pain or situation, or your left gut. Okay, Andrea, what I really need you to do is to sit back, Andrea, and just relax for a moment. And you tell me if you sense something in your body that might be happening. And my perception was that there was, it involves worry or concern, not worry, but concern, and also which is a part of, how do I say this? It's a part of not feeling that you're digesting your foods correctly, and also there's an irritation in there, a little bit of an irritation, which is contributing to discomforts and things. And so I really believe that if you were to try out the form of meditation that I suggested, you would see that it would take care of you. The consciousness of that godliness or that divinity, it would actually take care of you once you get into its world and let it express to you. Even for other things, it'll still become a part of you to help you to assimilate, which might be the situation. And so the drilling feeling was that might be just an effect of what we did. And so I understand. So please do try that. And someone else might have also, if you got into it when I was doing that, if you wanted it to be you that I was working with, it might have worked with you as well. And so that happens at times for lots of people. I never know when or who or why or whatever. So the one thing I'd like to do, first of all, tell me how you feel now, Andrea. If you notice any change, please. So, but one thing I would really like to do is a really quick meditation or contemplation. Contemplation is and we always do it in the shower, doing dishes, we're always contemplating, and we have aha moments that come to us. Everyone has experienced this in their lives. But that's contemplation. But the contemplation is actually the expression or the activity of meditation. But in meditation, we perceive a lot more. And so, and before I give this meditation, please, this real quick meditation, please, go to the mini classes that are free and come back next week, or go to the Healing Circle online on this community page. Take advantage of it. And I'll work with lots of people in the healing circles and stuff. And so let's do a really quick meditation. What I'd like you to do is just close your eyes and take a deep breath in through the nose, real slow, all the way down to the lowest part of your belly. And let it out real slow motion like. out of your mouth. And so just imagine that breath and do a few breaths like that, real gently in slow motion. No hyperventilation or other types of purposeful breathing patterns that we might have picked up in our spiritual worlds of listening to others, whatever. Just breathe in through your nose all the way down and see how low it gets in your lower abdominal, and gently and slowly let it come forth out of your mouth. In through your nose and out of your mouth, real slow and gentle. And do that a few times and imagine using your imagination to image in action. It's not pretend, it's not fantasy, it's imagination. And imagine that you're asking to see how that divinity works in your life, how it wants to share with you. Ask it how it wants to share with you. Be open. Don't think when you begin to get an answer. It'll be something in the mind that wants to begin to share with you, because the mind is what translates it into the brain, what translates it into our understanding. So it's almost like a vision or a sound or a word, and it will show you. Those visions and sounds and words form pictures. It'll give you an understanding, an idea. And that's what an idea is. I deem it will share with you a picture that you can relate to. Watch it come forth. It's almost like a scent way off in the background. You can almost sense it, wondering what it is. Let it come to you, that scent. Let it get closer and closer. But it's words and it's pictures. All right. All right. Awesome. 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 Hi, Tamara. Please do me a favor. You and Jason watch the beginning of this. And so, all right. Yes, and that's the love of God, Andrea. That's the love of God expressing itself. It's lovely. It's lovely. And it's the truer love without the, the dramas and traumas and dilemmas and feelings temporarily or whatever. It's a true love that's waiting to express. And so I really want to thank everyone for being here. Bebop, it can be a thing. It can be an expression of a thing, if that's what you're referring to. And again, look out for the other classes. They're always happening. The mini classes, the regular classes, the courses that I'm offering. Lynn, my help, and I, she's my everything, coordinator, everything. Type in hashtag you rock. Thank you. Google loves that. Thank you. And just enjoy yourselves and do the classes if you can, the free ones, and the next one in the paid course, which is a real experiential event. They're usually 4 days for an hour and a half, or 5 days for an hour each day, Monday through Friday. And, take advantage of them. We're not going to do a regular course until August for a month. And thanks for the you rocks. You guys rock. And if you see the replay, hit hashtag replay if you see that. And it'll be up in about a minute or two. Blessings to everyone here. And please, if you got something out of this, let me know. And put it on the YouTube channel in the comments section, or put it here. And I would be honored. And thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Blessings.